New footage shows this is how Ukrainian FPV drone easily take out entire Russian soldiers in battle Avdiivka. Nowadays, Russia appears to be unable to counter Ukraine's drone attacks on the Dnipro River because of a shortage of electronic warfare capability in the area, the UK's Ministry of Defence said. Ukraine's forces on the east bank of the Dnipro River have been using first-person view drones loaded with munitions to strike Russian vehicles alongside artillery, the UK department said in an intelligence update on Sunday. The superiority in the air appears to be helping to sustain the fragile Ukrainian bridgehead amid reports that the situation is critical on the ground, but Marines fighting in the swamps on the banks of the Dnipro have called it a suicide mission. Recent reports have said that Russia has been forced to send tanks to retrieve numerous vehicles lost in Russian counterattacks around Krynky. Russia and Ukraine have increased their use of cheap, commercially available first-person view drones this year and have been using tens of thousands of drones a month each. Analysts generally say Russia has the upper hand with electronic warfare technology that can jam and divert drones. However, this does not appear to be the case in the area around the Dnipro River, the UK department noted. In November, it was reported that Ukraine was focused on destroying Russia's electronic warfare systems, while Ukraine's Minister of Digital Transformation, Mikhailo Fedorov, said, "We are not only scaling UAV, unmanned aerial vehicles production, we are scaling EU production too and generally changing the approach to the use of electronic warfare." At the beginning of 2024, Ukraine destroyed a new $250 million Russian artillery radar system right after the military touted its arrival. Meanwhile, Ukraine's electronic warfare capabilities appear to be increasing and adapting to the Russian strikes, according to a recent update from the think tank the Institute for the Study of War. The Special Operations Forces of Ukraine's Armed Forces (SOF) also have reported that they have defeated a small group of Russians on the Avdiivka front, killing 3 Russian soldiers and wounding 2 others, as noted, and the Russians keep trying to advance on the Avdiivka front. The operators of the 8th Separate Special Operation Forces Regiment, who are performing tasks in the area, said, "The enemy attacks the same route every night. During night surveillance in our area of responsibility, using a reconnaissance drone with a thermal imaging device, we detected an enemy group of 5 people trying to conduct reconnaissance. The SOF operators opened fire on the Russians with a mortar. As a result, 3 Russians were killed, and 2 more were wounded." A recent report, Russia has lost more 5,000 troops this week, according to figures compiled by Ukrainian officials, as its forces continue to sustain heavy losses in its ongoing invasion. As of Sunday, 5,270 personnel had been taken out of action since the start of the week. Tallies from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine suggest 440 as of Monday, 820 on Tuesday, 800 on Wednesday, 830 on Thursday, 840 on Friday, 700 on Saturday, with a further 840 reported on Sunday. In the initial phase of Vladimir Putin's full-scale invasion in February 2022, Kyiv's estimates of Russian losses were roughly between 400 and 600 a week for the first 10 months or so, although there were occasional spikes of more than 800. The exact number of Russian casualties is uncertain, with Ukraine's figures higher than other estimates, but at the end of October, British defense officials said Moscow's losses totaled up to 190,000 personnel, including those killed and permanently injured, but this number did not include Wagner Group mercenaries. February 6, 2023, saw Ukraine's tally of Moscow's casualties go over 1,000 in a day for the first time, when it hit 1,030, but the 4-figure daily toll has been a more regular feature over the last few months, particularly since October. When Russia launched its offensive on Avdiivka in the Donetsk region, the toll peaked at 1,380 on October 19 and the latest figures, according to Ukraine, put Russian losses at 370,000. But Kyiv also said that 58 Russian artillery systems had been destroyed and 49 aerial drones had been knocked out. While the exact number of Russian casualties remains unclear, evidence from on the ground suggests the Kremlin's military has been beset by disorganization and was prone to tactical mistakes and shortages of equipment that have exacerbated losses. At the same time, Ukraine has been able to use long-range missiles and aerial drones to strike targets well within Moscow-occupied zones. Russia's apparent losses have prompted Moscow to enact several mobilizations of able-bodied men, while serving troops have been denied leave until the war is over, stoking domestic dissent. Ukraine has not disclosed the number of casualties it has incurred from defending its territory as it seeks to maintain morale, but Moscow recently claimed Kyiv had lost 215,000 troops since the war began. Russia's pre-war population was more than 3 times that of Ukraine's, while the Ukrainian armed forces also said that 53 Russian tanks had been disabled this week. It has regularly published footage of Ukrainian-operated drones dropping explosives on tanks, while Moscow's armored losses have pushed it to rely on Soviet-era combat vehicles. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces struck a quite rare Russian self-propelled artillery unit 2S-34 Kosta and the Tor anti-aircraft missile system on the Tavria front, Tavria Operational Group Commander, Brig General Alexander Tarnovsky, reported on Telegram on January 14th. The 2S-34 Kosta is a Russian 120mm self-propelled artillery unit, a significant upgrade of the 2S-1 Avdiivka self-propelled howitzer. It is utilized to suppress enemy forces, artillery and mortar batteries, missile systems, armored targets, fire assets, and control points at distances up to 14 kilometers. According to the general, the Russian army is concentrating efforts in the areas of Avdiivka and Novomykhailivka, engaging in 43 combat clashes and carrying out 914 artillery shelling incidents.